She forgot what day it was. I was in my office, the door was closed, and I was doing what I usually do on Monday evenings, namely preparing correspondence with some friends. I heard the very low, almost imperceptible whirring of the garage door opener in action. Anyone not used to the peculiar sounds of my house would probably not have heard it, followed a moment later by the sound of the garage door slamming shut. Bev, my wife, is a tall and not exactly graceful woman, prone to slamming doors instead of closing them. Like little ladies and gentlemen, my parents and grandparents admonished over and over again. But even to her, it sounded like an angry clap. I thought about it for a moment, but before I got too deep into my musings, she swung my door open and roared, "You ordered it on the house! You bastard!" I looked at her puzzled, watching her jaw tense, loud, furious sighs erupting from her flushed face. I watched her for a moment, and then leaned back in my chair. "I ordered it?" I repeated calmly. "You know you did, asshole," she spat out. "What makes you think I did it? He called me and read me the riot act, that's how. I'll probably never see him again," she thundered. I didn't like where this was going. Bev, you want to tell me what the hell you're ranting about?" I asked calmly, calmer than I felt. It made her furious. "You handed Barry the foreclosure papers at home in front of his kids. Couldn't you have waited a couple more weeks?" "First," I said, "I don't know any Barry. Secondly, I don't hand out any papers to anyone. And thirdly, what foreclosure? What do you mean, alienation? I mean, are you having an affair with this guy?" She hesitated for a moment, looking a little puzzled. Then she started up again. "I don't believe you for a minute," she said venomously. "You knew that I had been making love to him for months." I was caught off guard, but I managed to throw her off balance. "Did I know about it for months, or did you make love to him for months?" That gave her goosebumps running up her ass. "We've seen your goddamn investigator. He's as inconspicuous as poop in a coffee cup." I pulled a small stool over to my chair and put my left foot on it, leaning back a little. "So, you saw an investigator following you, and you assumed it was someone I had hired." I spoke slowly and softly, and the wind in her sails began to subside. She sat down in the guest chair. "Oh, come on, Jeff, I'm not stupid. You've known that for a long time. I've been waiting for the right time to tell you about it. But honestly, did you have to do it in front of his kids? One day I'd have to be their stepmother and—" I cut her off. "Bev, do you really want to tell me that making love to a guy named Barry and he promised to marry you and you think I hired a private investigator to follow you and that I put your lover behind bars?" She was silent for a moment and then nodded. "Yes," she said quietly. "Well," I continued, "I did nothing of the sort. I've noticed your lack of affection for months, and I confess I've wondered if you were leaving. I mean, just once or twice thought of it. But no, not my Bev, I couldn't believe it." Her face began to lose its blush. "So, it seems to me, and you ought to think too, if you have any brains at all, that some other asshole husband had the imprudence to sue this rascal. So what's his last name? Maybe I'll keep going." A few tears flowed from her eyes. She shook her head. "No," she muttered. "I won't help you destroy him." "Well, pack up your stuff and get out. You're not staying here anymore," I stated flatly, coldly. She did some calculations in her mind. "So you didn't have any information on us?" she asked with hope in her voice. "No," she grinned evilly through her tears. "Then you have no proof. Barry won't betray me." She got up to leave. When she got to the door, I asked, "Bev?" She stopped and looked back, a smug look struggling with sadness. "You've forgotten what night it is," I said, grinning slightly. Her face turned ashy gray. She turned and walked away. I heard some knocking upstairs and then on the stairs. I came out of my office and saw her dragging 2 suitcases to the garage entrance. "You and your fucking friends," she snapped. And with those words, she walked out of the room, the garage, and my life. The sound of the garage door closing was music to my ears. Plus, 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 plus. I had a soft spot for the blind, and I had friends in that community. The walls of my office were carpeted to drown out the echoes. as small radio stations used to do, and I spent Monday evenings writing and recording letters to my blind friends, which I then transcribed and posted on my blog. And poor Bev forgot all about it. I digitally recorded her entire rant, including the confession, on a digital recording. And anyway, I actually catered to her lover. I had photos, audio recordings, and other compromising material. And yes, my private investigator had 2 operatives assigned to them, one who was supposed to act as Barney Fife and the other they left out. So to summarize, I got rid of a cheating wife. I got compensation from the cheating asshole. I got compensation from his employer. I have a great story to tell my friends. Life, it can be so sweet when it wants to be.